Now, after reviewing the first Dune and watching the second immediately after in the cinema in an IMAX theater, I can say with confidence that I am now able to appreciate this duology as a single, large-scale and mesmerizing film. It was wrong to draw conclusions then, in 2021, and write a review in gray. By the same logic, one could evaluate the Fellowship of the Ring without watching the rest of the Lord of the Rings. After all, the entire trilogy is now perceived as a 9-hour epic with a coherent story. Will Villeneuve's Dune suffer the same fate? It is hard to say exactly, in fact, but she has every chance of such a future. The second Dune instantly put into place everything that was missing from the first part. Paul's development from Duke Atreides to Muad'Dib. A full-fledged war between the Fremen and foreigners represented by the Harkonnens. There is also the chemistry between the characters and their ambiguity, which makes it now difficult to find a completely positive character in the story. Now it all is. It's really cool that the story now feels cohesive. And I am sincerely glad that Villeneuve did not deceive when he said that the first Dune was an introduction to the world, while the second was a full-fledged development, a change in the world, a comprehensive disclosure of the universe of Arrakis. All the characters here feel in their places. Timothée Chalamet transformed surprisingly well from an insecure youth to a commanding, slogan-shouting messiah. Chani, played by Zendaya, may have received a larger role than in the book, but she feels like a competently introduced strong female character, without modern excesses. My favorites among the characters are Rebecca Ferguson's sly Lady Jessica and Fade Routh, who Austin Butler portrays far more convincingly as a psychopath than Sting in Lynch's adaptation. But in any case, there are a lot of characters here and all of them, right down to the small role of the legendary Christopher Walken, are felt in their place and remembered. Even the Fremen, who could easily remain a faceless mass, have their own self-sufficient personalities, among whom there are various fighters for their planet. You may be asking, how are things going with the audio-visual component? I don't even know if it makes sense to say it, it is even more powerful here than in the first part. Probably, only Fury Road and 1917 can compare with such power. Simply put, this movie was simply created for IMAX. Fascinating music, aesthetic locations, a sense of weight in every frame, polished camera work. I counted at least 6 scenes whose quality level gave me goosebumps. At a minimum, the black and white arena, which, by the way, is well integrated into the plot, and Paulus' iconic writing of Shai Kholab. In general, I am not one of those who advocate watching a film in a specific format, but watching such a movie in IMAX is simply an incredible experience that I advise everyone to experience. But what I like most about Dune is that this movie forms a synthesis of a well-presented story and impressive visuals. Let's say, when watching the second Avatar, for example, I clearly felt that the characters could not be compared with breakthrough computer graphics. The characters, like the plot itself, are quickly forgotten after viewing, as a result of which only a beautiful picture pops up in your head. But here the situation is different. In the second Dune, not individual images were imprinted, but entire scenes, as if downloaded directly into my brain. The best thing a fantasy world can offer is recognition. What the book dealt with, and what Villeneuve managed to accomplish in his opus. The only thing I missed while watching was an extra 15 minutes. So that the action is revealed thoroughly. Literally an extra 15 minutes for additional scenes with Shaddam 4 and other antagonists, and everything would have been absolutely perfect. On the other hand, the studio could simply not have given the extra time, since Blade Runner with a long duration from the same Villeneuve did not gain success at the box office. One can only hope that this film will become a massive enough hit that by the third part Warner Brothers will give the director complete carte blanche. What else can I add? For a cinephile, watching this film is comparable to descending into the mouth of a volcano for extreme sports enthusiasts. An unforgettable, singular experience that will be extremely difficult to replicate in future films. As a person who has experienced such energy in cinema, I would like to ask any interested cinephile to, if possible, look for the largest possible hall in order to absorb such cinema. Should you love him? Of course not. But this is a true event in the world of the film industry. Like the coming of a prophet. A spectacle that comes only once and then will not return in its former power, perhaps never.